Alrighty guys, let's get cracking. Welcome. Ladies and gents, hope we're all doing well. Let's get this show on the road. Alrighty guys, as always, good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening, no matter where you are around the world. Hope you are all doing well on this Monday. Coming towards the end of the trading year, towards the end of the streams, probably on for another week, or this week, and probably the first few days of next week, and then we'll see how we go. But nonetheless, hope you all had a good weekend and refreshed and ready to get back onto the chart. So you guys know the deal. Smash that like button, ask me questions, say g'day. If anyone has any charts or any pairs you'd like me to go over, feel free to voice that in the chat and I'll get to that shortly. Meantime, let's quickly look at the news. There is nothing at all really, unless something breaks, which obviously could always happen, but there's really nothing. Smooth sailing moving forward today into obviously our session and NY session. There is nothing of real impact listed, so it should be pretty smooth sailing as far as news wise today. So guys, without further ado, what we will do is quick announcement. The old TikTok, the original TikTok account is back live. I have no idea how. I was trying to log into my other one before, the one I've been streaming on it. Apparently that's gone. I don't know why, but the old one's working again, so that's a bonus. So yeah, so that's great. So those who were following on the original TikTok account, that is back active. So see if you can, it's just that A.C.T.Forex. That's it for the TikTok. So have a look at that. In the meantime guys, let me get underway with the analysis, and as always we will start with GJ TikTok never ending story. Rick, it is, I have no idea what's going on with it, but I'm happy to have that account back, because that account is close to, I had 1,000 followers, but obviously seeing it wasn't active, I've lost a few, but still up close to that 1,000. Alrighty guys, so I'm only on YouTube for the time being. I will go live shortly on TikTok. Guys, if you could smash that like button. There's only 6 of us on the stream at the moment. It's not really good enough, but you, same names, you guys are legends. Let's take a look at GJ and let's start in the weekly time frame. And we have obviously dropped well below at 190 flat, only to close above this support to the left. So what that does suggest to me is perhaps we grab some more liquidity from the downside. We are respecting a very key level. It does line up with further support a little bit further to the left, and if we were to move further across, we've obviously got previous support, which was also which was resistance turned into support. So key level above that 190 region, we are back above that. So based off that, what I did mention in the members group was that there are a few levels once we go down to the 4 hour that we could potentially pull back to, and we want one of those to hold and form a support, and that potentially could be the lowest point of the new weekly, and that is exactly what we've done so far. Quickly onto the daily. What I did suggest was the daily though would suggest potential signs of exhaustion. We've tapped into some resistance here to the left, only to close bearish. And I also mentioned in the update video, if we create a lower high, lower low to that candle, then there's a good chance that we could potentially confirm another lower high in the daily time frame and end up back towards the low of that previous weekly candle. So structurally we are bearish on the daily. We are also bearish of the counter probability. So this is marking the low. Let's mark in the high and see what got either side of that level. Onto the 4 hour, as I mentioned before, the update video I sent to the members, this was a critical level that I want to see price tap into, bounce off it for early potential options. So far it's exactly what it's done. 4 hour structure. Also, that was this is the last significant high low on the 4 hour. So we are technically bullish and we are bouncing off that support. So we've got some conflicting stories here on the 3 time frames so far: the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hour. The weekly and 4 hour suggest potential for further upside. The daily suggesting potential for further downside. So let's mark in the most recent resistance, and we'll obviously adjust these zones once we go down to the 30-minute, and this will be probably the telltale as to where we're likely going to be trading. All right, so the 30-minute structure has actually flipped bearish, and it will remain bearish well, you could argue it's perhaps just flipped back bullish. But for me, seeing we're closing in on this resistance, what I would like to see is now, if we were to respect the previous daily, the current daily candles high, the resistance form that level, and remain below it, then that could, once again, that could be the highest point for the new daily, and then we could end up back towards low, and with the volume momentum, potentially create a lower low. So if we were to pull up to this 191, 230 to 300 sort of region, only to reject, then I'd be looking for obviously a price action catalyst from this level for potential sell options. Now, having said that, further, well, it's seeing that we have formed the resistance at the current daily at this point here. Could also argue we've flipped the structure, or could be by the time we pop above this resistance, we would have likely flipped the structure of the closure above the current swing point. So if we were to start closing above the most recent, the resistance form, the current daily candles high, what we can see, we got clean move up, clean move down. There's a high probability at that point there we could make another clean move to the upside. So in line with the structure at that point, in line with the price bouncing off the 4-hour support, which is also still technically bullish. So for the time being, that is what I'd be looking at on GJ. As far as any other options, do respect this resistance. Is there an option? There could be. Look, there could be options below the current 15-minute level. Just gonna mark that in. The way this candle's closing, and doesn't appear that we'll have the option on the next 15-minute candle, next M30, next hourly. But if we closed a bearish engulfing, for instance, on the next candle, that may be enough to begin to look for sells from the current region. Obviously, if we did come back down to the support, still respect the 4-hour structure, we'll potentially look for the buy. So my bias is pretty much neutral for the time being on GJ. That's what I'm currently looking at. So seeing we're closing in on the resistance, I would prefer to look for the sell option, but we'll see anyway moving forward. Hopefully that made sense, guys. Let's take a look at gold, and gold analysis also absolutely spot on. The weekend update video had labels, more labels on this chart before. What I did mention was rejection of this resistance or rejection of this support for potential options. Wait for it to create clean move either up or down, and then trade within the clean candle. So not saying it would have been the easiest to get involved, but nonetheless good to see the analysis played out. Onto gold now, onto the weekly. And we have closed back a weak bearish candle. Surprisingly, not a great deal of volume in that previous weekly candle, considering all the news that was about last week, being the first week of the month. But we have closed back nonetheless, weak bearish. Current candle would then suggest that if the current candle was to break the high, as long as it respects the low, there'd be a high probability that we could make a deeper pullback into these clean candles to the left hand side. So I'm just going to mark in the high of the previous weekly candle for the time being. Onto the daily, right back in the middle of this absolute trashy range at the moment. Just consolidation, it's not even a range, it's just heavy consolidation, which means there is liquidity at this point being built into the market for what will be either a prevailing move to the downside or to the upside. So very little as to what we can make of this at the moment, aside from the fact structurally it remains bearish. We've not closed above this swing point, so I might argue that's a swing point there. It's only one candle pause. I would consider that a pause, not a swing point. Therefore, anywhere below this 2750, basically, in my opinion, is still technically bearish in structure. Daily candle probability to the upside, but right now back up at that resistance on the 4-hour, which structurally remains bullish. We're still at no point close below this swing point here. Not very close to it just here, but did not close below it. So structurally, we are bullish on the 4-hour. It is a nasty level. To mark in support, I'm just going to mark in that bearish candle wick for the time being, and I will be adjusting the zone. To the upside, this is very tricky as well. Marking that previous, that was a previous weekly high, and we'll see once we go down to 30 what we've got. So we are technically bullish, but just heavy consolidation once again on 4 hours as well. So onto the M30, as we can see, we have tapped into that level, which I marked in and sent into the members. Now, far as this zone to the downside, not much I can do with it, to be honest. It's got to be a big zone. All right. So looking at gold, within the current daily candle, we've pulled up to that 4-hour resistance only to reject. So that being said, we have formed support, creating that higher low. That could now become potential entry points to the downside. So let's just mark in a minor support on the 15-minute time frame. I'm just going to establish some levels now, guys, as to where we could potentially get involved in trades. So if we were to pull back to that level only to start closing below it, I would be looking for my options to take a sell. Bit tricky to the upside in my opinion. It's just a slow trickle up, to be honest, guys. I don't trust this sort of price action. Yes, it is bullish engulfing. Yes, there is a little bit of margin to the upside. Let's just mark it in. Not a great deal once you count for spread, about 14 pips. So I'm not going to chase this buy at the moment. What I can see is perform support at this point here. Let's maybe even go down to 5 minutes and we can clear this up a little bit. Not really. Look, gonna mark in this level. Below it, we've got some pretty clean traffic. That's the most recent level of form support on the push to the upside. Technically, the 30-minute, let's quickly just go back to it. It is bullish. Structure is technically bullish in a 30. So we've got the 4-hour, 30 as bullish, the daily, and the weekly is bearish. So that being said, we've got a neutral bias. I could trade it in either direction. So for me, I'd be looking for sells below this support we have formed just on the way up. Now, we don't necessarily need to pull back up to this resistance before looking for closures below. Reason being is we've already done it once today. So that being said, we could have already grabbed the liquidity we need within today's candle. If we were to break this support and pop below it, there's a good chance we could head back down towards first target 2638, sorry, way around, and 2635. As for the buyers, if we were to now just pop down to any of these levels, either this 2638 or preferably a little bit lower down, 2635, I'd be looking for a catalyst within price action for my potential buy options as well from lower down. Aside from that, resistance sells, we do pop back up once again, really anywhere below that 2650. I mean, we've got this level of liquidity just below it, so if we reject even that point, I could look for my catalyst to form upon confirmation of lower high. So sells below the resistance. Just drag this. Just going to adjust this. Now we got some pretty clean traffic above that level. Still a way off it, but buys above 2650 is also potential, guys. I know it's taking it into the 4-hour resistance, which we have rejected multiple times, but we do have some pretty clean traffic above that point up towards that 2653. So if we were to create the high in the current daily, having now come back down and create a higher low, I feel there is a high probability it could make another push to the upside. Today's goal, guys. Hopefully that made sense to one and all as far as my focus for the time being. Let's just see. Let's just yeah, let's play it by ear for the time being, but both are looking okay. DJ threatening to break above that current daily counters high, so I'm just going to remove this level, and what I'm also going to do is mark in a level on the M15 here on GJ, and below that point is probably the best option in this rate for the sells, unless we reject higher up and we get our catalyst from the current level. Further options will be had below 190.966, and at that point you're back below 191 as well, psychological number. So that's it, guys. Smash the like button, smash it as hard as you can without breaking your screen. And who have we got here today? Just one moment, guys. Franco, as always, appreciate you. Rick, good morning to you. Good luck to you too. Nags, great to see you on the stream as always. Beats, cheers my friend, good morning to you. Yep, TikTok is just always a tricky one on TikTok, but I don't know. I tried to log into my other account I've been streaming on because I'd been logged out. I don't know if time or what the deal was, but anyway, I couldn't log into it and it said account doesn't exist. I'm thinking, oh god, so it banned me while over the weekend for whatever reason. And it said sign to another account, and I remembered an old password. I didn't even know it was for the original account, and all of a sudden I can access it. I can go live. The studio's working. It even says your ban, your live streaming ban or whatever has been uplifted, and you're free to stream. So happy with that. Tony, good day to you, mate. Tony Gold. Nags, likewise to you. Sketchmas, yeah, likely. Well, I'll probably trade a couple days next week. I mean, having said that, it's the last few, you know, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 days or so, 8 days of live trading for me. But I will be working pretty hard with the members. We did a sim session yesterday and we started to test the 15-minute time frame with some interesting results, some very interesting results. So that was really good. Had quite a few on the call. Next, TikTok, they did. I wonder for how long though. I wonder if we'll get banned really quickly on this account. There is some scam A.C.T Forex accounts out there, believe it or not. Not even, you know, you guys say only have like less than 3,000 YouTube subs, under 1,000 TikTok. I mean, the old account had like 60 on TikTok. The last one I was streaming on. My AG's got like 1,400. I don't even know the majority. Well, how would I know, to be honest? All right, GJ rejecting. Interesting, very interesting. Reason why. What do we got here? Now you could technically drag this down, but every time I adjust it, this little cowboy entry that is relevant at 4-hour levels. Now I always tend to adjust it to, well, more often not to on the 30-minute time frame. But if you were to mark in the 50% of that zone, you would have had very little drawdown. And look at it reject since. It's uncanny how often it does it, and that's how I came about that entry, and that was through backtesting, like I've started with the members group. And it's just interesting to see it playing out. Speaking of TikTok, I will attempt to go live, so wish me luck, guys. See how long this lasts. All right, what are you guys looking at, by the way? I hope you had a good weekend. I'm talking to you guys in the YouTube. Anyone got any ideas? Members, I will send you guys the link. Thank you for patiently waiting. Link has been sent. I may even open up the Zoom call on the last day or two of this year, of the live streams, to just anyone who's in the free Discord as well. Just a little thank you. I know I'll probably get someone being a bit of a smart ass on it, but it's all good. All I have to do is kick him. Last morning to you, brother. That rejection on GJ. Oh, good morning to you, mate. Welcome. Has the fun started yet? Not quite. Not quite, my friend. Just watching GJ currently reject the 30-minute resistance to 4-hour resistance. But in way of entries, I mean, we could potentially get an entry soon on GJ, just depending how this candle closes. And gold for the time being, a bit of a slow trickle up. So I'm not convinced by the buys just yet. And as far as an entry point for the sells, at this rate, below this 15-minute level, 26.41 and 39 is where I'd be considering options. Wonder if I actually, am I just streaming live on TikTok and there's no one on there and I think I am live, but I'm not actually live? I have no idea. There's not been one person pop on. I'll chuck the link in, and can someone just see if it actually works? Oh, hold on. That's not a link I can share right now. That's a link to the Zoom call next week, guys. Next week. Next, the entry and the rejection looks good. Yeah, man, it's something I tested out last holiday period, so over last Christmas, New Year's, and wow, it really worked. It was surprising how often it worked. And look at it now. So if someone can click on that link, don't worry, it's not a phishing link or anything. I'm not gonna steal your details. Abdul, good morning to you, mate. There we go. That do it? Welcome. There we go. So I am actually live. Lego, welcome. All right, so it does work. That's good. All right, let's. Oh, I'm looking at. I was looking at the 5-minute on my minute trade. I was going to say we've got a bit of a support for me on the 15, potentially, but we don't. That's the 5-minute. All right, so we're about to close the 15. 30 still open. Still rejecting that level. So we're really just waiting for some volume to come in at the moment, especially on gold. Joanna, welcome. Imaka. welcome to you. Guys, members, this is directed to you. If anyone has any ideas about what you'd like me to cover for today's education session, let me know. Just send it into the VIP chat if you may, please. Now with that particular entry, what I often find is that it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a sustained move, but what normally happens is once it taps in towards the 50% of that 4-hour zone, it tends to reject to the point, especially on gold, where it gives you enough to secure some profit, and then you're not too bothered whether it closes back bullish. It's fantastic obviously for rejects because you could get basically in at the highs and it could potentially come back down to the support the opposite end, but a lot of time it does reject and then eventually pops back up, but at least by that point for the most part you've secured some sort of profit. Wow, this is some sort of push on GJ at the moment. Let's quickly measure this. All right, I think I found my tool, by the way, guys, that I was trying to refer to the other day, is to measure like the angle. That's not that one. Thought I found it was. I found it before. A fib. Trend angle, that's it. So that, it's hard to see it, but that is telling us there. If I was just to quickly remove that zone and move that, the trend angle itself on that impulse to the upside is 79.62. So that's a, hold on, 69.97. You can see there. So that's a very steep angle trend. So push up. So that would suggest that, from what my experience is, the steeper, so if it's 45 degrees and up, it's generally meant by a solid move back down as well. It's just something I learned years and years ago. It's just something to keep a bit of an eye on as well. So anything 45 degrees upwards is generally a nice push up that could reject quite the same. Colo, g'day to you. And often the first bounce off a level is usually the one with the most volume. I mean, this is the first one here that's popped down further into actual 4-hour zone itself. All the other bounces off support were above that 4-hour zone. This is the first one that's actually tapped into it, and look what it's done now. Look at the strength of the rebound off it. The more we hang around it, for instance, the more we retest it, if we kept doing this, low highs, low lows, the more shallow the bounces off the level become, as like so, and the more probable that eventually it will break to the downside. So once again, this is free education, guys. Just remove the zone to downsides, and we are quite a distance off it. We'll focus on the current area price action. Line FX. Good morning. We'll get JPYX. Looks down for GJ. Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you guys, that confluence. Forgot what it was. But for me, I personally don't look into that. I mean, how much can you look at? So I'd rather just focus on the actual chart itself. So this is suggesting downside. But there may be a weakness in the pound as well at the moment. So yeah, to be honest, I don't read too much into it, but if you do use it as a confluence, by all means, all we can do is use anything we can to our advantage. Whether that be indicators, indices, currency baskets, even indices, whatever it is. Abdul on JJ, is it valid for buys for close above the resistance? I'm just contemplating that. My only concern is it's been quite a strong move, to be honest, from these lows on the 30 with just a little bit of a pause and a 15 in between. It's some 70 pips above if it does close above. To be honest, I would prefer to see a little bit of a pause yet again at this resistance, just to trigger in some sellers, and then if we were to wipe those sellers out and start to pop above it, then I would trust it. So if that means waiting for a 15-minute candle closing back bearish before looking for potential entries above that zone, that's probably what I'll need to wait for the time being. Kind of would have wanted that to happen, this pause, within that zone, basically. Alright, what have we got the 4 hour? The 4 hour is obviously it's engulfing. We don't really have a low wick. I'm not that concerned by it, to be honest. Hourly, still got over 30 minutes remaining on the hourly candle. Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the pause plan. Impulse entries would have been extremely risky. Coming from well below the resistance on the 30. It's not just a 30-minute level as well, it's a 4-hour level. So are we just sweeping the liquidity at the daily high at the moment? That is my concern. That's why I want to see a retest. I want to see a pause. And a weak pause, tapping in only to reject, closing back above. And if that was to be the case, then that would probably give me the confidence to start looking for the buys. And maybe it's not going to be a fake out. Maybe it's not a liquidity grab. Maybe we've grabbed liquidity from the downside prior to it to hit back up for the remainder of the day. So that's just what I'm thinking at the moment. Not going to jump straight into this because it could just be grabbing some liquidity before it heads back down. Creating the upper wick on the daily, the weekly. Potentially, it has broken a lot of the previous daily already, so that's what I'm going to be patiently waiting for a week closure on the next M15. So if it closed like so, for instance, rejecting, then I would trust the buys on the following candle. So let's just chill for a little bit, guys. This is quiet over in TikTok. BM14A, welcome. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, man.
Franco, good morning to you. Welcome.
Hey.
How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, fine, mate. All good. Yourself?
I'm also okay, thank you.
Nice to hear.
So how was the weekend?
Yeah, busy actually. Had my younger sister's engagement on Saturday.
Okay.
Which was good. I didn't drink because I had to be up early on the Sunday. But no, really nice food. Food was amazing. But
So yeah,
it was good.
had a little bit of fun then.
Yeah, just getting out and about a little bit, which is rarity for me these days. So yeah, all good. How about yourself?
Yeah, also nice weekend. Also a little bit lazy, not doing so much. So
Yep.
And well, so now we are preparing for the new week and see what we can gain.
Yep.
So I'm looking on GU on some buys
Above
and,
the resistance.
Yeah, pardon?
Above the resistance here.
Yeah, not that much. I'm a little bit more down from the yeah, correct.
Around here.
No, the other one.
That one.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. This one, yeah.
Yep.
And
I think that's fair enough.
Be close above this area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be good enough. At that point, you're likely going to answer above that wick either way, a little bit higher up.
Maybe, yeah.
Closure above, you'll flip the 30-minute structure as well. Bouncing off some resistance here to the left as well. Back above the support, most recent support, so it just adds confluence. Daily long lower wick, breaking its own high. Perfect confluence. Berkeley was bullish. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good plan.
For me, maybe also here, maybe looking for at least an M15 pause, because also we are coming from the daily low.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe a pause will be better.
Yeah.
On the M15.
Similar to what I mentioned on GJ.
Yeah, correct.
So if we've got it in this 15-minute candle, then I potentially look for buys on the next 15, reaching London Open. But it's all good, still very early, so we just warm into the new week.
Yeah. Just a question. You mentioned that you have yesterday a sim session
Yes.
with the team and looked for maybe new entries on the M50.
Yep.
So
Correct.
this was recorded.
It was, mate. It was. I actually went into a bit more detail in the description as to what we actually took on the session itself. We took a few limit orders purely off the 15 as well, which had, you would have sat in significant drawdown, but none of them would have hit stop loss, and they all both would have hit TP.
Okay.
And decent TP, not talking 10, I'm talking 20 to 30 plus. So that was interesting. We spoke about another particular entry which would have worked based off, it was pretty much confluence across the board from the 5 to 15, 30, and even the hourly, there were reasons to take it. But the focus yesterday in the sim session was more on the 15, using a 5-minute as like our pause. You know how, for instance, right now I'm looking for a 15 pause. We were doing it, so we're going down one time frame. So looking at 15 closure as your catalyst, and the 5-minute pause as your, confluence, your signal to enter.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Very good. So I will take a look at that.
Yeah, it was a good session. I think that's what I'm going to do moving forward for a little while. So if you did look for a breakout, just a pure buy stop above that resistance, it wouldn't have quite tapped into 10 pips. I mean, that's how easy it used to be. For the few of you who are probably around the very early days, I'm talking about the old group. I'm talking about before I was even streaming on it. But it was basically buy stop pre-London into London open, around that sort of half an hour before, into the first hour or so. See, price approach, just set up buy stop, and it used to work that easily. It's not quite the same anymore. Things started to break down. That's when you have to adjust to the markets. You don't want to get caught like a deer in the headlights, because that's exactly what kind of happened, to be honest, guys. Markets started to change. The breakouts weren't working anymore, so we had to adapt to the new market conditions at the time, and that's, the markets do go through cycles, in my opinion. Obviously, quite the same with the crypto, it goes through cycles where it trends, a lot of time where it just consolidates for a shit ton of time. It's important to identify if you are stuck in a range, or consolidating, or just range bound, or you're actually trending, because trading the trending markets, it doesn't mean it's easier, but you've got more clear direction. So if you're trending to the upside, you're likely going to be looking for pullbacks to buy it, or buys above the highest upon continuation. If you're trading within a range, you're likely going to be looking for rejection of resistance or bouncing off support, and then maybe some levels in between. At JJ, wow, still pushing. Anyone in a JJ trade, well done if you are. Just not a quality enough entry for me. Gold also pushing. Well, good thing is, haven't been banned on the whole channel yet. There's no viewers, but better than being banned anyway. So I'll take that as a positive. All right, so gold's at an interesting level. Are we gonna hold and reject for options to sell, or are we gonna start to close above it? Remains to be seen. Once again, it's been a pretty strong bounce of more than 150 pips at the moment. So are we a little bit late for the buys without some sort of a pause, without waiting for it to reset? Thanks, it's a win still. Yeah, I take it as a win. So obviously what I was doing towards the end of the other channel was working, but I just can't work out why it says the account doesn't exist anymore. Unless they're thinking it's in violation of this account, because I did report that other account and they probably maybe looked into, because I can't find that anymore. So they maybe looked into my other account too, thinking it was also, you know, trying to copy me, the original. I have no idea, but this account's better anyway because it's got more followers. Promote a video or two and we should have some more on stream again. Rejection on gold. All right, interesting. We have tapped into a very significant level, into that whole level on the 4 hour, and look at the rejection. So these levels are critical, guys. They are key. Now let's just see what eventuates. I mean, if it's a little bit late to get involved in a sell just now if you're not in one. So we probably need to let that set up. So, I mean, what would be nice is either, there's a couple of options here. A, this closes back weak bullish. Doesn't mean I just sell it, because to be honest, I'm gonna have a massive stop loss. But what would be the better option would be bearish engulfing. Gonna close the 30 back bearish. At least you got the 30-minute confirmation there. And then, in my opinion, it's a highly probable sell. Or the other option might be if this candle actually closes back bearish, followed by that little weak pause, closing the M30 still bearish, and then you take it on the next 30-minute as it breaks the low. So the risky entry would be off the 15-minute time frame, just selling it as it on the following candle if it closes weak bullish, for instance. Very risky, because your stop loss, you would really need to wait for the new candles creating up a wick, otherwise you're going to roll with let's just measure it quickly. Technical stop of 38 pips based off the 15. Not sure how comfortable I am with that. Let's look in a 5-minute. Have we got any support? Just 5-minute engulfing. All right. Would have really liked to have seen some 5-minute support, to be honest. The issue, if it does form support on this 5-minute candle, then the 15 will obviously close back bullish. And closed a little bit too strong of a bullish candle to look for impulse sells. At the moment, look at that rejection. Wow, look at GJ. Whew. Now doing 5 zone retest on GJ. still, again, you don't really have a pause above that level though. Don't get me wrong, it's not like it's a stupid trade. But for me, what would have made me more comfortable is waiting for, considering we've come from so far back, just waiting for a bit more of a confirmation of using the M15. And unfortunately it just hasn't happened. So it's all good. Lemon gold really needs to break out. Yeah, it needs to clear this range, to be honest. Alright, so we could be getting that 5-minute support. Cipher code, good day to you. Alright, so if we form that minor support just now, bit of a pause just here on a 5-minute, would take a small entry. Your stop loss would have to be probably using the 15, using the 5-minute, but you really want to set a new count, create decent upper wick and trust that. I would definitely go low risk on this entry. So that being said, a small lot size, because it's using 15-minute and 5-minute as the confluence without the 30-minute yet confirming that we are going to hold this level. It still could pop up, still could close above. So the stronger the confirmation is, the higher the time frame. So obviously the 30, the hourly, even the 4-hour, obviously, if you did wait for trade based off the higher time frame. But there could be enough of a confirmation for just a small entry. So I see markets, the low of this current 15 is 2646.53. So I'd potentially look at 2646.35. JSP, good day to you. But this could be closing back a little bit too strong. So therefore, I mean, it's not going to be valid, guys. 15, in my opinion, is closed a little bit too strong now. Yeah, I'm not going to put the entry, guys. I'm going to wait. Let's just wait and see how the 30 closes. do feel though that once gold finally breaks this area that's been stuck in on the 4-hour and daily, would make a really big move. Personally, I actually hope it's to the downside, because as you guys, most of you know, I do invest in physical silver more so than gold, but also a little bit in gold. So obviously want to get in at a discount. I'm bullish for the long term. It's more of a store of value than more than anything, to be honest. With the deflation, or the rate of deflation of currencies, fiat currencies. Harel, good day to you. Welcome. All right, is it gonna give us an option at 15? And we're looking for a very strong 15-minute closure, preferably engulfing, minimum engulfing the body of that 15-minute, preferably engulfing the whole candle itself. And then there could be sell options at London Open, so that's what we're likely waiting on. Lachey, good day to you, welcome. Now JJ is really pushing. Maybe a missed opportunity. All good. Oh, not bothered. Steph, good day to you. Ben, welcome. So just watching gold at the moment. I'm playing some sell entries if we do reject this resistance. Paul, good day, mate. How are you going? All good, brother. All good. How are you? All good. Wilding, good to you. Lachey, welcome. All right, use gold now. Going to do similar to what GJ has just done. And my concern on GJ was it just going to grab some liquidity before potentially rejecting him back down towards the current daily candle's low? Obviously, it's not to be the case at the moment. Gold definitely has to close above. Now, we've not really had any sort of pause in price action approaching this level other than on the 5-minute time frame. Good thing is it's happened at that resistance. So I feel if we were to close above, definitely retest the zone. So close above, definitely retest it at the open and begin to bounce off it. We do actually have some pretty clean traffic up till around that 2653 sort of region. So once again, it would be just a small entry because it's barely run up at the moment. But we have created that high low within the current daily candle. We close above, we will have confirmed a higher high as well. So I'm not ruling out potential gold buys at session open as well, guys. Just keep a bit of an eye on that. And we'll see, we've got just about 5 minutes remaining.
No, GU is also pushing up.
Yeah, pretty strong move on the majors and gold at the moment.
Yeah, also EU.
Yep. EU's just a little bit behind, still below the resistance. AU's following GU at the moment. It's broken a resistance and is moving into clean price action. I mean, it still looks good though, but you would prefer to see a retest. It's got to travel a fair distance to break the high though.
Yeah, there's clean traffic on the left side, but we need to come down right now.
Yeah.
Not pushing too much up.
One good thing. What do we got here? Within the catalyst, we've got that 5-minute retest. We've closed above, retested, closed bearish, only to close the M30 back above. So long as it has a lower wick, it doesn't necessarily need to pull the weight back, and there could be options. Buy it as it breaks the high. Mr. Phil, good day to you. All good, mate. All good. Hope you're well. All right, so get ready, guys. Those who are interested. Waiting for the new count to pull back to create lower wick. I want it to tap into this zone. Seeing with now, this is the first. Well, shit, it's not. Maybe not even closing above. Has to close above, and this will be our first closure above on any time frame. The 5-minute upwards. So we want to see it close above, want to see it tap in on the new at session open. And as price begins to break these counters high, that's where I may look for an entry. Has to create a low wick and tap in. Not going to take it for breaks without the low wick. Has to tap in. Doesn't tap in, there's no entry for me. Want it to tap into the zone, then as soon as it does, I'll set a buy stop. BJ, wow. So I'm wanting this count to pull back and tap and retest this zone. The highest point of any bearish candle, 15-minute time frame and above. In this actual resistance, I really want it to pull back to tap into that level. If it does, I will. As soon as it does, I'll set a buy stop. Without it, I will not set one. Very simple rule and plan to follow at the moment. All right, looking good. Looking like we may tap in. All right, perfect. So I set a buy stop now, just back above the previous candle's high. So I've got an entry set. Non-investment advice, 2651.44. TikTok, if the stream ends, if I've been banned, jump across to the YouTube stream. Stop loss is below 15. And that is my pending entry. So not in yet, obviously. And let's see. EU breaking, looking pretty good for those who are following. Let's hit that like button to YouTube, those who have not done so yet. If you could, be much appreciated whilst we wait for potentially this trade. All right, session open. As long as we remain above this resistance early into the open, then I feel once we begin to pull away from it, then there is a good chance we'll make a pretty clean move up. We've got into clean traffic to the left once we begin to break above the previous catalyst candle's high. Obviously, you've been targeting these wicks to the left, but the answer fairly reasonable target, 2653.35. Jai Turner, good day to you. Lemon, yes, but the good thing is we create a significant lower wick on the current candle. So I mean, if you want to roll with that, I use fixed lots, but what I will do is just start adjusting a stop loss to just below the entry candle once it gets triggered in. That way I mitigate my risk by almost half. So that's the other option, just to roll the stop loss below the current candle. And then it'll be cut by almost half. Be about less than 20 pip stop. Lemon, yes, I do. I use fixed lot sizes. I think once you've got the proven record and you prove to yourself, obviously, that you can manage your trades as well, and you win a lot more than you lose, then it's a good way to grow account is by going through using fixed lot sizes. But be wary, because it means you take bigger losses, but you also take much bigger wins. So it's not something I advise to a newer type of trader, or a trader who struggles with consistency, who might win a little bit more than they lose, but still end up being around that break even to even slightly in a loss with their results. Definitely don't use fixed lots if that's the case, because you're just going to get yourself wrecked even more likely. I've been using fixed lots for probably 2 years now. David, so gold has broken above a resistance. It's within a 4-hour level at the moment, which is a bit dangerous, but within that 4-hour level, we've got pretty clean traffic on the 15 and M30. So we've broken and closed above, which none of the candle could do at this point, even on 15 and 30. Finally closed above it. We're retesting it, we're remaining above it. We've got bullish structure in the M30. Got daily counter probabilities to the upside, higher low, higher high. So based off that, I'm trusting that if we were to begin to break our own high, that could be enough to make enough of a move to get us to at least secure some profit. Only the issue is we've only had pause in a 5-minute, which is better than nothing, but we've had a pullback in a 5. So I feel if we were to remain above this level though, still feel it's a pretty good option to look for potential buyers. So that's what it's based off. And if this candle closes weak bearish in a 15, another added confluence. BAB, institution, why would buy markets moved up so much? You missed the actual buys? Yeah, potentially. I'm fully aware of that. I've even mentioned it. It would have been optimal to getting buys lower down. I didn't trust the buys from there. So I need to wait for another type of signal within price action, which I could be getting, which I pretty much have got. And that's just what I'm looking at. Not everyone has to agree. I could get wrecked. I'm fully aware. I know it's at 4-hour resistance. I'm just trading the lean levels within the current area, which is pretty much where we're at the moment. Just using some of my analysts, and it's just a smaller risk. And I could get that little pause just now anyway, on the 15. Josh, good day to you. David, all good, mate. And if this closes back below, closes a strong bearish candle on the 15, then I remove the order and need to wait.
You know, I'm pretty happy to not be involved in GU. price right now. So I think it was a good decision for me.
Yep, fair enough.
Wait, we really get the pause on the M50.
Yep. Good idea. Doing similar to what gold is doing just now. So had a substantial run up, now potentially pausing.
Yeah, so the entry point which you mentioned on the M5 was the right one at the end, because there you gain your, I think it was 9 pips. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's still very, very risky taking off that, but there would have been a potential entry.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, the
Yeah.
5-minute time frame. So,
No, it's totally fair enough. All right, so I want this to close above the resistance. Use the fib as well. Yeah, so we definitely want it to close above the 50% because that would be above the resistance. So that would, in my opinion, determine it to be a weak bearish closure, and we're still above that resistance. If it closes below it, then I mean, it's a little bit too strong of a closure, and I probably need to wait again just to see where the next candle closes. Wait for a little bit more data to print, because we still could just reject this level. There still could be sell options from it. So once again, that's the rule. The rule for this particular trade, for it to remain valid, the next 30 seconds, it needs to close above this horizontal and that gray resistance zone. If not, I will remove the order. All right, looks like I will need to remove the order. Just wait. Yep. All right, so remove the order, and I now need to wait. There is no valid entry for me just now. It's closed back too strong of a bearish candle. I'm just gonna chill. In the meantime, guys, I will be back in a moment. Don't go nowhere. Right, guys. I'm back. Skull rejecting. Alright, no problem. This is good. This is fine as well. So let's see if we can get a bit of a pause, a bit of a support forming just below the resistance. So once again, is this just that little bit of another liquidity grab from the upside, this 4-hour resistance? Make the move back down towards the lows of the range. But I want to see some sort of further confirmation. I want to see strong closure on this M15 and a little bit of a pause on the following M15. Otherwise, I mean, if we now do the opposite and start to pop above, that's a really strong suggestion that maybe we've grabbed some more liquidity from the range below in order to head back up. So we still could possibly get these buys as well. David, no, I would not be entering sales. So if the same applies to the 30-minute. This closed weak bearish on a 30 just above, then in my opinion it's still valid. If we were to break the high of that candle on the following candle, after pulling back quite deep into the range below, still obviously a lot of time left within the current candle, still could close below it. As far as my particular rules, I don't actually have a catalyst to sell it within this, on this 30-minute closure. Because I don't have an engulfing by the looks of it. Not going to close engulfing bearish on a 30. Nor do I have a minor support within this 30-minute candle to look to enter as it breaks below that level. What I've got, it would only just be a bearish candle against a high volume bullish candle. And that would be not enough for me to sell it. Again, it may be enough for you guys, and if it is, by all means, but for me, as per my rule book, it's not a strong enough confirmation to sell it. So we still could get the buys. Buys are still potentially in play. Forex QM, welcome. See what is happening on Passport today. Nothing really in regards to any breaking news at the moment. All right. I mean, we could get the engulfing candle. The only issue would be stop loss. You'd have to wait for an upper wick to form on the new candle. If it was to engulf on this candle, stop loss is going to be way too wide if that was to be the case. Now there is one, if this closes for instance near its low, there is one more scenario I will wait around for, and that is the next 15 minutes. Just to see if we do get that little bit of support forming back below this resistance, and if we do so, there could be entries on the second M15 of the next M30 for sells to take it back down. So it's not all over just yet, guys. Still could get some entries. On this stream, as we know, patience it definitely does pay. Just need to wait. Joe, could be worth looking whether JJ close halfway to 4-hour resistance if it shoots straight up. 4-hour resistance. Yeah. The 50% of that. It is still 30 pips below it at the moment, but if it did pop up without low wick, then yeah, it is valid. Stop loss would have to be above the high, and it'd be not a bad stop loss. It'd be about 15 pips. So yeah, it's something you could look at. Yeah, definitely the next M30. But again, for that, it has to pop straight up, no lower wick. So we could keep a bit of an eye on that. Thank you for making mention of it. So I don't have quite the catalyst out on gold. Again, those who are interested, yes, you got bearish candle below, back below the resistance. I just don't have a price action signal. Other than that, it's still weaker than that previous candle. It still has a higher low. It's not breaking any minor support on the 15 or the 30. It may be on the 5, but I don't really trust that time frame. Plus, because I haven't tested it properly, plus you've got a little bit more support to the left of that. So for me, I'm waiting 15 more minutes on gold to see if we get a little bit of a pause, a little minor support forming below this resistance, and then I may have a valid entry. Let's just watch GJ pop straight up. No, all right, it's simple as that. That's it. The rules. It's rejected. I've not tested it enough to know whether creating that low wick first and then it's happening to level how probable it is. I think I've noticed it once or twice and it still actually worked quite well, but I don't have the data to back it up. So I'm going to stick around another 15 minutes, and if we get a little bit of a pause here on gold, I will look for sells from resistance. Buying solo traveling. Welcome to you. Johnny boy, welcome to you. Let me just set an alert. I just want to see what happens at that level. Make a difference. Karina, welcome to you. All right, so are we going to get that little bit of a pause now on gold? If we do say this is a trade, I will look to take every single day of the week. Joe, which is even a small lower wick like now invalidate the sell limit trade. Yeah, I don't have the data to back it up, mate. I've seen it a couple times just out of matter of interest, just following along when price does tap into it, work quite effectively, but I've not actually tested it out. So I've only tested out when candles approach without the wick in the opposite direction, because my concern is that seeing we've already created that lower wick, that we may tap in, we may push through it, or we may just tap in, reject slightly to leave a bit of an up wick, and then create the high low of the following candle. May not have enough pips on the table to get to break even at that point, and then may break the high of it, and we end up above this resistance. So I wouldn't personally be taking it because I don't have the data to back it up. I am trialing, I know Mr. Tommy Jones trialing something on gold, based more on actual levels itself when price taps in, and so far, I mean, very interesting results. Actually, as he has probably, I reckon he may have just TP'd on an entry not long ago. Alright, so gold rejecting, so I don't yet have that pause at the moment. Not going to be easy, guys. Alright. That's the entry. Yeah. Apologies, guys, not for me, I'm not in this. I really would prefer a bit of a pause at this stage. I mean, it still could eventuate, but it just means you need to wait for more candles to print, more data to print. Very similar scenario if this candle closed as is, or even stronger, followed by a little bit of a pause on the next M15, closing the hourly. That will close the hourly back bearish as well. It's even stronger confirmation. You're just entering lower down, so you just need to ensure you have some margin down to this 15-minute support, and if not, then it just is what it is. You might need to wait for it to form support. GJ, let it do its thing. I prefer it to tap into this via resistance and then look to see how price reacts to it. 30-minute structure is flipped bullish. The bias is now back to neutral. I would not be chasing the buys. I'd rather buy it on the pullback or look for the rejection sells for our resistance. That's what I'd be looking at. So I'm going to wrap it up because by the time this may become valid, it's a little bit too late. I've got a date with the members shortly. Yeah, so nothing today, guys. We're all good. Stuck to the plan. Still a good day, in my opinion. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, guys. If you're not done so, make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Make sure to give the TikTok channel a follow. The link should be updated in the description below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, members. I'll see you guys probably in about 15 minutes or so.
Okay,
all right, guys.
See you, man.
Cheers. See you, Franco. YouTube, TikTok. Catch you guys later. Cheers. See you tomorrow.